Hi, I'm Kristen, and today I'm talking about fabric sample books. So I'm going to go over, all about where you can find them, what you might want to do with the fabric from them. But most importantly, I think what most people might be looking for from this video, if you're already convinced that fabric samples is a good way to go, is how to take them apart and how to get rid of that white paper on the back that's all sticky with glue when you get them. So if that's what you're looking for, then you don't want to hear the rest of it. Then just go to they're called timestamps or chapters. They're in the description box of the video, and you can just skip straight to the bit where we get to taking the paper off. But if you're not sure what I'm talking about in terms of fabric sample books, what this is like a book that someone would take around, like an interior decorator, or sometimes maybe a clothing maker or designer or something, would take these fabric samples in a book to show someone, this is what your curtains could look like, or your sofa or whatever, and they can touch and feel them. And then they sell them the upholstery service or the dressmaking service or whatever it is, right? And, these things have a limited lifespan. Once they've finished selling that line of fabric, just like in quilting, that sort of cycle kind of goes around. And so then those sample books are no longer needed. They'll get new ones for new fabric lines, and the old ones end up lots of places. So they might be I've bought them in charity shops or thrift stores. I've bought them on eBay. And if you know anybody in the business, obviously you could get them for free probably. And you might be able to go into an upholstery shop and they might sell you old fabric sample books and things like that. They're not always super cheap, but they can be. So the ones that I'm going to show you, I think I bought for £20 each, including the postage. And the postage was really expensive because they were still in the big sort of cardboard book, which is really heavy, which they kind of, if you've ever seen them, they're like, I'll show you a picture, but they kind of carry them around with a handle like this. And sometimes you find people selling them where they've already taken them out of that, which makes the postage cheaper and it's one less job for you. So that can be good. But if you buy them in a thrift store or a charity shop, usually they are in that big bulky thing. Obviously there's no postage if you get them from a thrift shop, but you do have to take them apart. So I'm gonna show you how I take them apart. I'm not a great expert in that, but I get them apart. And then I've got two really good ways of taking the paper off. So you don't peel it off. There's two ways to take it off, which will work for you in different situations and depending how many samples you're wanting to do at a time. Then I'll show you how I've used the fabric samples. So I've used them in, not so much in quilting projects, but in other things. But in the last few projects that I've done with them, I've sort of gotten some quilting ideas from them. So I'll tell you about that at the end as well. So I've got these two fabric sample books. They're like upholstery fabric that I got on eBay quite a while ago. And they've just been sitting here waiting for me to open them. They've got all sorts of big pieces, cool colors. Mostly I use this kind of thing for tote bags and sometimes small upholstery projects. And I actually have a chair in my living room that I want to put a piece of fabric over some leather that's bust. So I want to open this now and take this backing stuff off and sort it. Let's try and get these open. Unfortunately, I've never found a way to just open this and close it. They're not really designed to be opened and closed. So you can see they've nowhere on the back. There's that. That looks like the easiest place to open it, actually. I've got a few different tools with me. You never know what's going to work. This one's kind of glued shut. Take that out. I actually think I just need to use, hoping just brute force for this one, I think. I'm not sure a tool's gonna help me. There we go. So you see there's screws. So that's why they're so hard to open. different sample books are going to be put together differently. So sometimes it could be an adventure trying to get it open every time. If you have someone to help you, so someone who could pull in one direction while you're pulling in the other, it would definitely make this easier. I know this looks like not much fun, but if you had an extra pair of hands, I don't think it would be quite as hard as it's looking right now. I'm going to pop those out. It's like a screw with a very pointy end, so be careful when you're doing it. So obviously you don't want to get that stuck into you anywhere. There we go. Okay, and now there's big staples along the top here. So it's free of the screws. But there's still these staples here. This one's actually got this like plastic on the front. I'm actually going to keep this. Obviously I don't want the bit with the upholstery logo, but this bit I could sew and it could be like like a clear pocket in a bag or something. So I'm going to keep this, even though it's just on the front. All right. And then I'm going to see what I have here. Can I prise this? Probably a hammer would be better. Yeah, I'm going to get a hammer. Okay. Ugh, lost a nail. Just gonna pull a bit more to loosen the. Oh, they just came out. That one just came out on its own. Fabulous. There we go. So we got these 3 little bits. It doesn't look like much usable fabric, but we can actually take this paper off, so then it's a slightly bigger bit, and that could be, a zipper pouch or a pocket or something, right? Okay. So this one, there we go. Cool. So there's this back page I don't need. Ah, there's more staples in the back. Hang on. Goodness, they staple these things to death, don't they? Right, so there's a few other pieces. Free. That's nice. So this is the biggest bits on the top. And then green. And there's going to be a lot of the same pattern in different colors, because that's what a sample book is like. So I'm just pulling, all I'm pulling is there's a bit of glue at the top. So I'm just pulling them to separate them. And then we'll take the paper off later. Here's how you're supposed to use them. Let's see. On your sofas and on cushions and things. Yeah. Cannot remember how much I bought these books for, but I will put it on I will look back in my eBay history and put it on the screen if I can find it. just for a sense of scale, the biggest samples in this book, the ones with kind of the flowers on them, like that yellow one there, is 18.5 inches by 16.5 inches. And the small ones, those little plain color ones, were 8.5 by 6.5 inches. So, and everything in the middle was obviously a little bit smaller or bigger than that. And obviously different sample books are going to come in different sizes from different companies. So they're not all going to be the same. And I know it does look like a lot of work to get this stuff all out, and it is, but it's a lot of fabric. Because I have all of this, and then I have a few other books that I've sort of bought previously, and I just sort of draw from it when I've got a project like a tote bag or a cushion or something like that. And this time around, when I was using it to make some cushions and I had some scraps, I started playing with them, and I think this fabric might work its way into some quilts before too long as well. The second book felt more like curtain fabric than upholstery, so it's just a little bit thinner than the first book was. That's it. Last piece. All done. Quite a lot of usable fabric. So next is to take the paper off of here. When I first started using samples, I was trying to peel it off. Obviously, that doesn't work. I mean, sometimes it works, but it's really hard to get it all off that way. So what you really need to do is melt the glue that's underneath. So there's two ways you can do that, and I will show you them both. So method number one for removing the paper is just to put your iron on it for a while. I've tried this with lots of steam, thinking that would work better, but it doesn't really. And just to note, do not put your pressing mat on top of your cutting mat like I'm doing here. I have bad habits. Don't copy me. There we go. Now it's still sticky there. It's a glue residue, but the glue will kind of dry and become less sticky after you've done this. But if you really want to get rid of it, then method two will get rid of it completely. We're just melting that glue to get the paper off. So instead of just being able to use this bit of fabric, you can now use all of this. And I'll try and get these bits on the top off as well with the iron and things. Okay, I'm going to show you the second way to take the paper off. So for this way, again, all we're trying to do is melt the glue. So we're using hot water under running tap here. So I've done this one at a time like I'm doing here, and I'm going to show you in a bit how you can do quite a few all at once, which obviously makes it quicker and easier. But if you're just doing one, you're just waiting until you can see the paper start to look like it's loosening. You can kind of see it start to bubble up, and then you just pull it right away. And doing it this way, one, you can see whether or not the fabric's going to bleed on you, which I've never had a fabric sample do when I do this. But also the hot water will take away the rest of that glue residue that we didn't get off when we were using the iron. So it kind of just washes it away. Obviously, the downside is that before you use it, you've got to wait for it to dry. I don't actually have a dryer, so I've never even been tempted to put them in the dryer, so I don't know what that would do, but I just sort of hang them up to dry. So obviously, if you're wanting to get to just using that fabric sample straight away, then the iron might be the quicker way to just do one, if that's all you're looking to do. But if you do have a whole bunch of fabric samples, you want to take the paper off at the same time, you can obviously settle in the living room in front of the TV and just have an ironing session. Or what I more commonly do is give my fabric samples a nice hot bath. So I just run a hot bath, not all the way up, as you can see here in the video, and then just dump them all in and wait. Not too long, doesn't take very long, 10 minutes maybe 15, and then come back and just pull them out, and the paper just sort of falls off, basically. And you can, every once in a while, there's a bit of a glue residue that you might have to massage off almost with your finger in the hot water, but usually the paper just sort of falls straight off, and then I just sort of obviously get rid of the excess water, and then hang them up to dry somewhere else. So this is definitely the quickest method to do a whole lot at once, but then you do have to clean up all the gunky paper and make sure it doesn't go down your drain, because it could definitely block drains. So make sure you've got that all obviously you would have the stopper in if you're running a bath anyways, but before you open the stopper, I can't speak, before you open the stopper, make sure you have sifted out and got all the gunky paper, because you don't want that going down your drain. So that's the kind of only downside of doing it this way, but it's definitely the fastest way. And then so here they're just drying on the radiators, and then obviously press them once they're dry and you're ready to use them. There are loads of things you can do with this fabric. I tend to use a lot of fabric samples in the bottom of tote bags, like these ones here. This is the cracked leather on my chair. I did a rough stapled upholstery job on the bottom half with some other fabric. But I also made these reversible bench cushions along with some jeans for a bench in my hallway. Don't have any photos, but I've also made tons of zipper pouches with fabric samples. And now these are some, I don't know if they're even quilt blocks or what they are, panels, I guess, made from the remnants, the offcuts of those cushions that I made. So, because the fabric samples were a little bit bigger than the cushions I was trying to make. And then some denim scraps that have been sort of offcuts from other projects. And I don't know yet whether these are going to be just panels for a bag or another cushion. I don't really need more cushions right now. Or if they're going to end up in some great big denim upholstery fabric quilt, because like they're similar weight, so I feel like they could go together, and I've been just really having lots of fun with it. So yeah, so that's an idea. We'll see where it goes. So I hope you enjoyed that video and you got lots of ideas for how you could use fabric samples in your crafting life. If you like videos like this, then please don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. Thanks so much for spending time with me. Bye.